You started?
Nope. Oh. Week 24, I think? Or was last week?
Yeah, I think we're on 25.
Week 25. Sunday morning Nook Talk.
Pretty exciting week.
Yeah.
I showed somebody the podcast the other day, and they're like, oh my god, you guys all look so miserable. Have you ever thought about doing it in the afternoon instead?
No, but like misery breeds like humor, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just because we're waking up, having coffee.
I think they can fuck off.
I was like, well, this is the only time we can do it on a consistent basis, I think.
Yeah.
People got lives out here.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
Well, we initially started it Sunday morning because then we'd just jump right into the football games.
Yeah.
And now there's no more football games, so we're just like trying to keep consistent with our timing.
Yeah. And the only thing that stopped us so far was a snowstorm. And that was it.
Yeah, and, we are talking about politics and news and shit, so it's not like we're doing flip-flops over here.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. I really enjoyed this week's news. I wish I almost took a sick day just so I could stay home and watch the whole Cohen, what is it called? The hearing.
The Cohen hearing wasn't even like anything really revealing. I mean, it was pretty much all what we already kind of knew, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, but he did produce some documents that kind of solidified some bullshit. I mean, like...
I think Trump should get audited now. What do you think?
That's what they're doing today. They're looking at getting his tax returns, and they don't even know if he was actually being audited by the IRS. He might have been lying about that.
Mm.
Well, I wonder if not only if they were auditing before the hearing, but also if they were just waiting for a good reason to audit him.
Well, he said he was being audited, and that's why he couldn't release them. Even though he could release them, even though they're being audited, he said, I'm not going to release them because they're being audited.
Yeah.
And once the audit's over, then I'll release them. And now he's like, nobody cares about my tax returns.
Yeah.
So he was probably lying the whole time. And we were waiting for like a substantial case to build on him before we just came at him.
Whatever happened to the Mueller memo? Did that ever come out?
No, that's part of the, they're the ones asking for taxes. So.
Oh.
But he's also investigating Stone, and Stone went to trial, and he got another gag order because he posted a picture of the judge in the case with crosshairs right behind her head.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, if that's not a threat of a federal judge, I don't know what is,
Did somebody tell Cohen, like, they brought signs to the hearing? Like,
yeah, liar, liar, pants on fire.
Yeah, I was like, what grade are we in? 3rd grade?
Well, and then he even said it. He said, this is what I did for a living. I made up silly stuff so people would argue about stupid stuff so they wouldn't get into the issues. And you guys are doing it right here in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think it's interesting. The Democrats definitely had a plan to get information, and the Republicans are just trying to say, you're a liar. Why should we believe you? Lie, liar, pants on fire.
Yeah, but the Democrats would do the same exact thing if the script was flipped. If there was a Republican that lied, all the Democrats would be saying the same thing. Well, you lied about this. Why can we trust you now? It's just a human thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's a partisan thing.
Yeah, but I mean, even on like our level in court, if we ever shown that we're not credible or our word's not worth it, then there's nothing that we can say later that's going to back anything up.
Once they run out of ways to refute the central point, which is what they avoid doing, then they start going into like ad hominem attacking, where it's just attacking the person or just contradictory statements.
But that's why Cohen said very straightforward. He says, you don't have to believe my words. Look at these documents I brought in.
Yeah.
So he's like, now there's, call me a liar, call me all sorts of names,
As long as you got receipts, you can return it.
And he said some of the juiciest documents got seized. So
yeah, all the recordings. That's going to be the interesting thing.
Yeah.
It's like the Nixon tapes. They're comparing the Nixon trial, and his personal guy flipped on him, on Nixon. He released the tapes, and during his hearing he said, I told him not to record this stuff. In this case, it's different because Cohen recorded it secretly. Mm-hmm. Recorded a bunch of phone calls, recorded conversations he had in the room with them, and all sorts of shit. So we don't even... We've had a couple of things revealed, like when there's an exchange that he's like, do you want me to pay her off? He's like, yeah, do you want cash or check? Something like that.
Doing a money order?
He's like, no, cash.
Yeah.
So they got that on tape.
Yeah, Jussie Smollett could have learned something from that.
Yeah, I think that, Mueller's been around long enough that he knows how the political process works, and he's taking his time to wait till the right time to release it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like you said, compiling evidence that's so damning that we finally can say, okay, let's get this guy out of here.
And that's the interesting thing for me politically. If Hillary Clinton, for example, did something wrong, and that she should go to jail for, her emails and that sort of thing, the Republicans are all at it. Lock her up. That was their big slogan. So now that he's lying, they're like, oh, well, she did too. And it's like, well,
Lock them both up.
yeah, lock them both up. If they can prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the whole Benghazi thing, everybody, blamed her for all that. And she stood on trial for 12 hours straight. So she's obviously much more transparent.
From Benghazi, there came a good movie out of that, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what good movie you can make with Trump besides a
Oh,
documentary.
dude, there's going to be the PP tapes. That's going to be a big part of
The
it. yeah.
PP tapes.
I mean, we got the porn star, we got PP tapes, we got Russian spies. That's going to be a good movie.
They could do a movie about Hugh Hefner and then tie in Donald Trump like somewhere in that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, even part of the things the Republicans were talking with Cohen was, you're just here for a book deal, aren't you? You've been offered book deals. He's like, well, yeah. The movie deal.
Yeah.
He's going to jail probably for 3 years or so.
There's a silver lining everywhere. Just like, and history repeats itself. So I feel like this. Who was before Bill Clinton?
Bush
Bush.
Bush Jr. W.
Senior.
Bush Senior. Bush Senior was
Right,
before
correct,
Clinton,
yeah,
and before him was
Reagan.
so Reagan, Bush Senior, Bill Clinton, cool guy,
No, but
cool-ish.
well, he was hip. I'll give him that. Same
He
with,
was hip.
Same with Obama, but
He was also naive to a lot of things in his presidency.
who? Clinton?
Yeah.
Uh,
Like he had a rough start to his presidency. Like he almost failed right out of the gates when they had that budget plan in place to try to save the economy because it was in worse shape than he projected.
But he turned it around. We got out of our deficit.
Yeah,
Right?
because of that. But it won by the slimmest of margins, 50 votes. No Republicans approved it, and it went through, and it saved his presidency basically.
Well, the reason why Clinton was successful was because he went over party lines and was helping out the financiers of Wall Street, basically.
Yeah.
And he continued to support OPEC and buying oil from Saudi.
Oh yeah,
and
oh yeah.
all
The
the
Clintons have
shit.
made
I mean, the Democrats
millions of dollars.
Yeah.
just as saying it's Republicans as far as being in bed with them.
If the Clintons were
Shit,
audited,
Obama bailed out the Wall Street and the auto industry.
Yeah. And Cash for Clunkers. I remember that.
Yeah,
You could, yeah.
that was part of the bailout program. But the bailout itself, it's like, the reason why General Motors was failing, in my opinion, is that they're making all these big old fucking trucks, And
Yeah.
it's like people wanted to buy little Nissans and gas efficiency, and they went tits up.
Yeah. But the reason why I was bringing it up is because now you got Donald Trump right now, and then you're probably going to get Bernie Sanders afterwards. I feel like,
I don't think
it
Bernie
is.
will
It does
win.
seem cyclical. Like
yeah,
every 4 presidents, one of them is going to fuck up. And Trump, I just think I would love to see what's going to happen with his attempting to get reelected, if that's even going to go down for the whole entire duration.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think with the Democrats, we got like 15 people running right now.
Well, that's
Too
okay.
many.
Weed them out, though. Weed them
Yeah.
out. That's the whole point.
well, how many
Jay Inslee.
Republicans? Oh, my fault.
No, Jay Inslee's running. He's the
He's a
he's
dipshit.
Washington governor.
Climate change is not a priority for him.
Well, it is a priority, but not for most people. Most people want to have money in their bank account. They don't give a shit about plastic turtles.
We just have to assume that climate change is a thing. And
Doom and gloom here.
Yeah.
if you're going to win the presidency on the Democratic side, you have to back that there needs to be something done about climate change.
I agree, but I don't think that's what people are going to vote for.
Democrats
People want
will.
money.
Then that's not going to be like the substantial thing that tips people to
That's
vote for
right.
you.
No, it's just one of the things that you have to have in your arsenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I really just been following Andrew Yang, the entrepreneur guy that's offering to give every American $1,000 a month.
Just because?
He's doing it out of a dividend system similar to the oil companies in Alaska. If you're an Alaska resident for the last 35 years, they've been getting $500 a month from their oil reserves. Every citizen. I remember when I was in college, one of my roommates, he was getting $500 a month, and I was like, dude. He's like, yeah, it's because I'm an Alaska citizen. I was like, what? So, you know,
shit, that's better than some pensions.
I just don't know how it would hurt the economy, especially with the gap between the rich and the poor right now.
Well, the trick is the Republicans are going to shoot it down entirely because the money's going to be coming from the tech businesses. And anything that's going to affect business, the Republicans are going to say, leave your hands off my business, you know?
Yeah, but only if it was a large group of tech, minimum that they would have to give wouldn't be that much.
Well, any bit's something. I mean,
yeah,
Amazon, for example, you're going to put a 1% tax on them. You know, I see...
Their stock might go down a little bit, but not much.
Well, the thing is that what Yang was saying is like, okay, they pay this industrial tax or whatever they call it, living tax, I forget what it's called, but they charge them 1%, but everybody's getting $1,000, and how many people with $1,000 is going to go right back onto Amazon and buy more shit? So
we've seen that in the past before, where corporations got taxed heavily, that money gets kicked back to lower income people, and low income people do what low income people do, which is spend money.
Yeah, and the thing is
right.
too is that what
like
if
any stimulus package?
What if there was $1,000 payment every month for every citizen or most citizens? The next priority is going to be how do we get that money from that person? So there's going to be all kinds of businesses, corporations trying to get their hands on that money.
Right.
With online marketplaces, you don't even need too many corporations.
No, you don't. But what about instead of $1,000 cash, like $1,000 housing voucher, where you get like $1,000 off your rent?
Oh, to your housing.
Yeah.
That would actually be beneficial.
Because then you wouldn't have a bunch of people trying to get that cash coming in. It would go towards something like, which is a crisis, high rent.
So, what you're proposing is something that's good on paper, good sounding, and just good for Americans as a whole.
Yeah.
What Yang is proposing is just good on paper and good sounding.
And the only people that would really benefit that would be homeowners.
Yeah.
Well...
Or who's renting too.
Which are struggling because they're forced to increase the rent. Homeowners are forced to increase the rent of their places because of the economy and the cost of living going up.
Yeah, it definitely benefit homeowners, but I could just see an apartment complex, for example, saying, hey, you got $1,000 free on this, it's going to be $1,500 now.
Yeah.
You know, instead of a $900 apartment, we're going to make it $1,500.
So I think...
So they'll inflate it.
Yeah.
What I like about the cash idea is that people with cash, they can save it up for 6 months. And then now you get $6,000, you can open a business, or you can buy a house. Now you have the money to put down on a house, and it's how you choose to use your money. I think like you're saying with the low income people, a lot of people just go to the store and buy booze and whatever.
A Gucci belt, seen that before.
And what he's really proposing, interestingly, is trying to help the homelessness and other stuff. He's saying that the suicide rate and the opioid addiction is because mostly white males are out of employed or underemployed.
Now they're being born into a world where they can't even get a job.
Right.
Yeah. You know, it's a real thing.
Unless you have a technical degree or something else, you know, you're competing for minimum wage jobs with, 30-year-olds, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to hire a 16-year-old kid or 18-year-old kid or a 20-year-old, 25, when you got a 35-year-old worker?
Yeah.
You know.
And you have state and local governments are supposed to step in to say, hey, we have jobs to offer our residents.
Every job I've ever quit, I've had no problem getting another job right after that. But when I quit the casino in 2012, after the economy crashed in 2018, everything changed. I could not find work. I looked so vigorously, and I was surprised.
2000, when was the crash? No,
2008.
2008. And then 2012, I was like, I'll just quit this job. I'll be able to find work, no problem. 6 years later, I couldn't find anything solid.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I applied like a madman.
Well, I think that's once again the idea that if you have $1,000, let's say you got 4 friends that want to open a business, you save up for 6 months. Now you got $24,000. That's pretty good to be able to buy anything, and then
and that money's being spread around. It's not like they're just holding on to it.
Well, it goes into the local economy too. You know, I mentioned that you just jump right back onto Amazon and spend it for them, which people will do. But also people with, like saying, low income people too, they're going to have cash that they're going to go to the local market. They're going to, go to the weed stores, and,
That might increase the spread of Americans as well, instead of being so centralized and like.
Right.
It'll definitely stimulate the economy.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think people like Walmart would be against it, because now you're going to.
The people that have to give away money, but really, if you're making $35 million a year or some exorbitant amount of money like that, what are you doing with all of that money?
Well, I think it's great that, if let's say you don't have a job and you're getting $1,000 a month, that's still not enough to live.
No.
But it's enough to get you maybe off your ass to
It
start
may
doing
keep
something.
you from killing yourself.
Right.
Enough to put gas in your car so you can go out and find
that's right.
something.
That's right.
Yeah.
Enough to pay a $50 internet bill.
Or at least you could lease a car with that $1,000 and go drive for Uber or something.
And part of the impetus in this whole thing is the tech companies going to be taking over transportation. He was showing how the truckers are the biggest job in the country. In every state, the most employed people are truckers, which I didn't know. So they're already having prototypes with wireless trucks that people are sitting in rooms where they're driving a truck, and you don't have to be actually on the road. You're just driving it from your TV. That's pretty crazy. And so,
wow.
He's just said it's a matter of time before they're replaced. And I remember talking about that in college. It's like, what do we do if we don't have jobs? What do we do for life?
So the way it's supposed to work is when robotics come in, that automation doesn't just benefit one person, it benefits society as a whole.
You would think so.
But
the greed of the corporations, that's why the CEOs are getting paid way more than the workers now, because they don't have as many workers.
Right. So then they just buy the machines, but they don't spread the wealth that machine creates.
Right.
So you get this whole Karl Marxist ideology thing where like you get this rising proletariat class and then they're going to revolt.
The difference is, and I hate all the times that people compare the democratic socialists to Venezuela, because that's a socialist country.
Yeah.
And the big difference is the reason why Venezuela is a socialist country is that they nationalized their oil supply, and they have one of the biggest reserves in the world. That's why China and Russia is fighting us against trying to put in the leader there, who's going to be the owner of Venezuela, basically. But their oil is socialized, and that's their main number. And so they fucked up because when the oil prices went down, they didn't stop their spending for their social programs. And what Yang's proposing and the democratic socialists, they're just saying tax the capitalistic companies. So it's not so much that we're trying to nationalize their oil companies. We're just wanting to tax them more. That is not socialism. That's
and most of these
just higher taxes.
Most of these people, these companies, have 501c3s or some way they can just donate the money anyway.
Yeah.
To bypass taxes entirely anyway.
Yeah.
So instead of like paying for taxes, those companies could just donate the money directly to a distributing nonprofit organization.
Yeah. I just it's just difficult for me to understand. For example, what size do you start taxing for automation? So what happened in New York, for example, they wanted an increase in wages, $15 an hour. So they were getting $15 an hour, and it all started they were trying to unionize the car wash industry. So the people that were washing cars, they told them they had to pay them $15 an hour. So they got rid of them and went to machines to wash the cars, and they fired everybody. So now these guys are working on the street, illegally washing cars without a license and, just taking cash. So it's totally black market. But so does that car company now, do they have a duty to pay more taxes because they were fucked to become automated in the first place? How many people do you have to employ? That's what I hate about the $15 an hour rule for like small mom and pop companies or bars or restaurants or something. You only got 5 employees, and now you're saying you have to pay them $15 an hour, and it's like, no, they're already getting tips, and then they have to raise their prices, and then people tip less, and
Yeah.
Anyways, what else is going on? Trump was in Vietnam. I like the Onion's report on that he laid a wreath where he would have died if he would have been poor.
I feel like that trip I don't know. It's interesting because I bet you the other world leaders, whenever they have a meeting with Trump, they're probably just like, "This is the best you got, America. Like, this is what you fucking elected."
Was that the one where he was in? He was talking to the North Korean leader,
Yeah.
Kim Jong Un, and then he was like kind of sympathizing with him a little bit.
Well, this time he just left. They were supposed to even have lunch. They had the table set and everything. He's like, this is over. This is not working. But, you know, it was just not too long ago that he was saying, that we're friends. There's no more nuclear threat.
Yeah.
And all the generals were like, yes, there is.
Somebody had a hand raised.
Yeah, excuse me. And so those talks failed, which is just amazing.
And at the same time, the Cohen thing was going on, so how much of that had an impact on it?
Yeah.
Trump was probably wired to the TV instead of where his mind should have been with North Korea.
Yeah. And Kim Jong-un was even laughing about it. You know, he's like, But, you say that the other world leaders are, like, laughing at him, but there's other countries that are getting much more conservative than we are with regard to isolationism and Islamophobia. And, you got sitting members in parliaments in England, I think, that are proclaimed neo-Nazis. You know, they have a new party that's basically saying, get the fuck out. And so they're gaining momentum. So it's not a far cry that people would say, yeah, I understand what Trump's doing. He's saying, the hell with all this. So, anyways.
Sports.
What's that last one?
Oh, fuel? Like the replacement for regular fuel?
Oh, yeah. So I was just cruising the internet today. It turns out that Google's actually good for something when they suggest things, because I came across this article about I think it's ammonia. Ammonia? Yeah, it's ammonia. Ammonia-based fuel.
Huh.
And how effective it can be for this whole going green ideology that we've adopted in the West. So the way it is produced is clean, and the byproduct of it is clean. So it's entirely green from start to finish. And the only thing that it requires is electricity to power the machine, water and air. And this guy, he got a patent for it in 2014, somewhere between 2014.
Is he dead yet?
No, he's not. I actually contacted him today. I was like, can you convert my truck before you die? Because, you know what I'm saying? This is big stuff when you're going up against people that's been in power for like 100, 200 years. So, entirely green process. He's already converted his truck, and it drove from one coast to the other, so from east to west. He didn't say how much money was spent, but he is converting fleet-based vehicles now, and just like entities that require a whole bunch of vehicles to be converted to save energy, but he's not going private sector yet. But it also has to be approved by the EPA before you're even allowed technically
tough
to change your vehicle over.
The president or the secretary of the EPA is an oil coal production guy.
And the only conversions right now that are approved by EPA are based on like propane and natural gas.
Well, I think nuclear energy is the way to go, and it's been the way to go forever. You know, back in the hippie years of the 60s, when nuclear energy was, and they're all protesting against nuclear power because it's, going to kill the world.
They saw the destructive force behind it.
Well, that was all funded by the oil companies. It was. I mean, you'll read these ads that back from the 60s in the New York Times or the New Yorker, and it'll have this huge ad about, 3 Mile Island and how bad nuclear energy's killed people and this and that and the other thing. And the very bottom it says sponsored by Exxon Nuclear or Exxon Petroleum or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a scam.
Nuclear would definitely be a way to power like entire cities and grids. And I think what this guy's proposing, in practicality, I don't know about it, but from the evidence he showed, for private vehicles, you just have a machine that you plug in your house, and then you can just like fuel your car up like that.
I also know people that worked in the nuclear departments of the Navy, and they'd always get fucking lumps on their bodies and shit, and moles on their lips. It was like a common thing,
Yeah.
Like, that's just my nuclear limp, like fucking on my lip. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not good.
You can only be exposed to so much energy. Yeah. It's a lot.
Well, yes and no. I mean, some people are more careful than others. They just found this 3 canisters of uranium in some museum or something that people were exposed to for 30 years working there.
Shoot, somebody thought it was the ooze from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. So, all right.
Sports. Real quick, Jim Zorn's going to be the coach of the Seattle XFL team.
Hilarious.
What? Seattle's got an XFL team?
Yeah.
They still have XFL?
No,
Yeah.
they're bringing it back. Jim McMahon and some other people are bringing it back.
Is the lingerie league still out there?
No, I don't think so. I think women killed that.
Ah!
Feminists were like, that's not right.
Well, some of the statements that they made about the XFL in Seattle were like, this is a sports-thirsty town that we just want. But at the same time, the women's soccer team now is in Tacoma. They're no longer Seattle, whatever.
I went to the XFL webpage looking to see what they had for employment in Seattle.
Oh.
And they actually got some jobs available for the team. I don't have a degree, but they wanted a degree, but some of them they looked pretty interesting.
Huh.
Everybody wants a degree.
Yeah, they do.
But we don't got enough money for degrees.
But I'm going to keep my eye out for that because there might be like a janitorial job that I could do and just be in.
Get in the entry
and
level.
then work my way up. You know what I'm saying?
Meet the right people.
That's what I've done in most of my jobs.
That happened to my sister when she was
boss.
She was the director of advertisement for Nestle. And she was working there as I forget what she was, account or something, account specialist. She had a bachelor's degree in, I don't know what it was, sociology, I think it was. And so she was unrelated, but she moved to LA because she's stars, she likes to see the stars and that kind of shit. So she was working with them. Well, when the director position came up, it said needed an MBA. And she didn't have one, but she went and applied anyways and said, I've been working for your company for 4 years. You want somebody that has to learn all this stuff? Or you want me to step in? So they hired her and stepped in.
They would rather hire within most of the time.
Yeah. And she's awesome, so makes it easier.
And if you have evidence that shows why you're a good candidate for this, like actual work experience, most of the times that trumps degrees.
Yeah, that's what she told me, because I was looking at changing careers 15 years ago and doing advertising. I wanted to write jingles and stuff and she said, well, yeah, they're always hiring at Nestle or whatever. And I said, well, do I need a degree? She goes, just get a portfolio. They don't care where your degree's from. And she's like, you made a lot of albums and flyers and for shows and stuff. Show them your graphic work. And
you can get a portfolio just working on Fiverr. If you put on there like, hey, I'll write jingles for like $10, and you just compile this list of jingles, you can send that to anybody.
Yeah, and actual ones that you've used professionally, like if you did a video for PCC, you're already making money doing it, and it's not the biggest in the world, but you're at least doing it. So when the bigger contracts come around, then you can say, hey, look at all these I've done.
Yeah.
And so you're already building a portfolio.
That's what it's all about, is evidence.
Yeah.
People want to see receipts.
Yeah, that's why we got to step up our game with this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a job in radio anytime soon.
Stop it.
We need a mascot or some shit.
We need a Brandon. Brandon, where you at?
Yeah, no shit. We got to get him over.
Well, there was talk on Facebook of Brendan and his dad trying to do a podcast.
Oh, really?
That'd be hilarious.
I
though.
You would think. But I think I could see them just totally brain farting on camera and just not acting like themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you can record them in a natural state.
I can't imagine Brendan acting any different than he is. I mean, what other persona is he going to bring out?
We talk about him so much on this podcast.
I had him on a couple podcasts.
Here's Brendan in the wild.
Okay. So when I had him on the podcast, I showed it to the other comedians, and they thought that I was like taking advantage of them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wasn't that funny? And they're like, not really.
As long as you're not making fun of him.
I wasn't, but I was kind of like cracking jokes about. We were talking about girls,
Oh,
So,
well, there you go. Yeah, that's.
So this is what I don't like in our society. Like, an observation is automatically viewed as negative.
Like they look first for something wrong with it instead of.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if I say, you look like a stoner, it's like, oh my gosh, why'd you call him a stoner? And I'm like, no, observation, he looks like a stoner.
Well, it's a matter of what you're observing. It's like, I noticed you haven't had a girlfriend in 20 years.
But is it the truth though?
Well, but still, I mean, even if it's the truth, you don't have to say it.
Yeah.
I think this differs based on the way we were raised. Because when I was growing up, my dad and my mom, they would definitely like point out things to me that helped me be better. It's like, Joe, you're getting a little chunky. You might want to go ahead and join the football team. You know what, Mom? You're right. You know why? Because that helps me be in shape and be prepared for things in the future.
But they did that in private. They weren't on the TV saying, "Hey, look at our fat son. He needs to join the football team." It's like
My mom had a cell phone, so like, you know what 4chan is?
I think I do.
So 4chan is a site where people can post anything. They had some pretty derogatory stuff on there. I went on her laptop and I went on 4chan just to like browse for stuff. And it's some weird stuff that came up on there. She hopped on her laptop, got on the phone, and was like, "Hey, my son's over here on 4chan, what's all this stuff, blah, blah, blah." And she called everybody in her phone directory. That helped me to like learn how to use private mode on my computer.
Sounds like she's a dick.
No,
Just kidding.
she's a nice lady. She's a nice lady. She keeps it 100, as people would say.
That's great.
Let's go to local news.
All right. Well, the saddest story is Dustin Hunt was shot and killed. His parents used to own the High Fidelity. I played music there quite a bit for them. And I played shows with Dustin, and he was on my podcast a couple of times, as were they. I went and saw him with my son at EPA. He's a rapper and a great guitar player, too. I mean, he does the whole thing. And shot and killed. They're still trying to figure it out. An investigation's going on there. They haven't made an arrest. They said it was self-defense.
Yeah, I read the article. They said they're still investigating, but it doesn't really make sense that someone who was unarmed got shot, even if there was an altercation verbally.
Where did it happen at?
His girlfriend's dad's house. He was invited over. His girlfriend brought him over to meet her dad, and then something happened where there was an altercation, and he got shot.
Yeah. And what the shooter was like 45, the dad?
Yeah,
like
40
that.
something.
So
Former Marine.
beat his ass up, and you know, I mean, you have
That's
to
what
shoot
a lot of
him.
people are saying.
You know,
It's like,
you
if you were
couldn't take a 20, and he's a skinny guy.
21.
He's an
yeah.
artist. It's like, he's got, you know, he's not a fighter type. So, I mean, even if he was, I mean, a fucking 45-year-old Marine against a 21-year-old kid?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
I'm sure it has something to do with the race. I'm not sure, actually.
Well,
I would assume so.
Was Dustin black?
Yeah, he's black, and the guy, I think the shooter was white.
Did he look like Zion Williamson? That's a big dude.
I don't know.
No.
Okay.
No, he's a skinny little guy.
Yeah, Dustin, he's
21
he's
years
a
old.
skinny
I mean,
little
just a
guy.
little kid.
So we're gonna do a benefit for him a week from today at the Hi-Fi. We need to make a flyer today, but probably just acoustic guitars and karaoke.
Yeah.
Sell some CDs for the cause.
I'm supposed to be in Puyallup that weekend, but I'll make the flyer, obviously.
Comedy?
No family stuff.
Okay. Say no more, fan.
And local shows. Did the Wednesday comedy competition.
I did that.
Okay, so the Wednesday night one at Cookies, right? That was crazy. There was a guy who went up, and he was drunk as shit, had some daddy issues, and Sean was like, wrap it up, you know, trying to get him off the stage. And then someone else, and then he started getting into it with this white bald guy that was in the audience.
While he was on stage?
While he was on stage, supposed to be trying to wrap it up. And then Sean's like, dude, stop, just wrap it up. And he's like, no, fuck you, Sean, I got 1 minute left to give this guy some hell, you know? And it like made people laugh. Like, that was the only funny thing he said. But then he just started getting like derogatory, like, look at you, dickless, ballless, you call yourself a man, blah, 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 you bald ass son of a bitch, this and that, this and that. So then obviously he comes off the stage with the microphone and he's still talking shit, and the other guy wants to like punch him, you know, and then people are trying to separate him. And then, I don't know, it was just so awkward.
Oh.
And then on his way out, he flips the dude off, because the dude was sitting right next to the exit, you know. And so the dude jumps up to go get in his face, and then fucking Cat breaks it up, you know. Sean Pickering's just like, he's not doing anything.
Is that your impression? Oh,
yeah,
man.
because, you know, Sean's never been good about controlling his shows when stuff like that happens. Now, what I'm doing is I'm just observing, because it's not worth it to me. It's not my show to go jump in the middle of something like that, you know. Now, if it started going down, I might go kick somebody in the face, but that's about it. Especially if they go to the stage. Like, if the audience member goes to the stage, that's different than if the comedian goes to the audience member. If the comedian goes to the audience member, I don't got your back. Fuck
that's
you.
encroachment.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Thursday.
Yeah, this is the better one.
And then Thursday.
After I left?
Yeah, at Hi-Fi. No, it's before you showed up, actually. Thursday at Hi-Fi, I'm hosting the comedy competition, you know, so I get up there and I'm telling a couple jokes. And then this drunk chick that was there for the music prior,
I saw this.
she was like, just standing in front of me on the stage, just all drunk, looking at me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you just standing there, you know? So then she starts talking, I start talking back, and then she fucking turns around and moons me and shows me her fucking butt.
Moral of the story is don't kill yourself, people. Don't kill yourself. Anyway, moving forward. We have a body in front of him on the stage here. This is good. You're like an extra. This is great. You were born? Shit. Ballsbo. All right. You have a good time. I will be nice to you, Susan. You have enough privilege in life. Don't worry about me. Yeah. From Paulsbo, yeah. Oh, she's Indian. She's Pocahontas, right? What do they call that lady that faked the Indian for a while there? Never mind. Anyway, you know, I'm tired of being broke, and I'm tired of my friends bragging about it, right? I had a friend recently that was like, oh man, I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Oh shit, she just showed me her ass. What the fuck? What are you doing? I didn't look. I just, in the corner of my eye, this bright white moon just appeared. Jeez. You should go to Mexico and tan that ass a little bit before you start doing that shit, all right? Let's just say that. She came here to have a good time tonight. Gotta respect that. Respect that. So anyway, you know, I'm tired of my friends bragging. They're like, oh, I've been living paycheck to paycheck. I'm like, man, quit bragging. I've been living no check to no check for how long now, you know?
And I was just like, whoa, what the fuck? Now, my first instinct was to like kick her in the ass. But then I was like, oh, she'll face plant and that'll be bad, you know? But
Yeah, bad publicity.
And her boyfriend's like 6'8".
Oh, he was there.
Oh, yeah.
well, I had two camera angles. He was trying to like, Susan, get over here. Get over here. And
Susan!
in my head, and I'm just like, your husband's calling you. Someone lost their wife, bro. Come get your wife.
Maybe she was looking for something.
But the thing is that I was recording it, right? So in my mind, like, kicking her in the ass would have made for some good footage.
You said footage.
Yeah, or it could have been incriminating against you.
Yes. Why would he record that?
Yeah.
Why would she stick her ass out in the air like that?
It's like Cohen's tapes. They're gonna subpoena your tapes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't going to be like a kick in the ass, like, I'm trying to fucking kill you. It would have been like, get out of here. I don't want to use my hand to push you out of here, you know?
A little booty bump.
Yeah, a little booty nudge, that's all.
Yeah, that's all.
All right.
I'm not trying to lose my foot. You know?
What's coming up this week?
Hold on, time out. Who won on Wednesday?
Jack Lee and Marianne Riley.
Jack Lee's good. And,
He's better than he was.
Wow, he's really good now.
Oh,
it's so funny. He was telling his Asian jokes, right? And he kept going with the Asian jokes. And somebody in the audience goes, it's okay to laugh. He's Asian. But Marianne Riley, she's from Graham area, Puyallup, Steilacoom area.
Was that the Thursday one too?
Thursday, she won the Thursday one, yeah.
Okay. Oh, those are the two people that have won so far.
In Thursday, that was Thursday, yeah. So we have 4 finalists so far.
Who?
First 2 were Andrew Frank and Paul Goodwin.
Oh yeah, of course, Paul. Paul's the.
So we got 3 weeks left for qualifiers.
All right. I guess I'll go now.
Sign up for next Thursday.
Yeah.
And Wednesday's the cookies competition still going.
Yeah.
You know who won the Wednesday one that cookies?
Some guy I never heard of. Who won though? Who got first place?
I don't know.
So Sam Ellefson.
He has big lips.
Yeah, you've seen him at the Auntie Katrina stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hilarious because he went up right after that whole altercation, right? And he made like 6 good jokes right off the bat about it. He's like, yeah, you could tell just by my shirt, I was gonna be the one to stop that. And it's hilarious. And then he, every time someone would come in, he'd be like, ugh. He's like, is it just me, or is every time that door opens, I get scared? It's gonna be that guy, and everybody was just rolling.
Oh, man, I missed it.
That's situational.
And that was the only. There's 2 nights at Cookies that crazy shit have gone down, and it's the only times that I was not recording.
You gotta start bringing the camera.
Yeah, because I'm like, nothing's happening. This is boring shit.
Solid comedians, man. We got some solid comedians up here. We should all just plan a trip to LA and take it over.
We need to tour the state is what we need to do.
Yep.
And stop by Idaho.
I got a spot at in Seattle. If you want to do that.
I'm talking about Bellingham, Spokane, Yakima, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, maybe Montana.
And it's like some type of club, and it sits on top of the tower.
Yeah, so we got Cookies open mic this Wednesday, High Fidelity open mic this Thursday, both at 8:30 p.m.
Dog Days, first Friday.
Dog Days first Friday, that was a fun show.
Yeah.
Oh, it already happened.
Yeah, it was last Friday.
Oh, because Friday was the first. Who came?
I played guitar.
Yep. We had like 8 comics. The Double D's barbecue lady went up and told some jokes about being a mom.
Nice.
Was she funny?
She was alright.
Yeah.
She's more comfortable than Brendan on stage, it looks like. But yeah, we had Lindsay was there, Lori Ogle was there,
Oh, man.
Thor was there.
Well, and then there was the fights last night. That was kind of fun.
UFC fights, that was fun. It was a good card, but it was kind of a little slow, boring, but it was all good.
The misconceptions of tattooing black skin.
Yeah, this is the story.
But I don't know if there's anything else.
Yeah, that's pretty much it as far as I know for comedy.
Shit, almost 45
Yeah,
minutes.
we went a little late today, so let's finish it up.
All right, see you next week.
All right, bye.